Hello and happy Friday, everyone. I'm Angela Andrieux, and this is Luminar Coffee Break. Today's topic is our New Artist Friday, Ask Me Anything. So as we go through today's session, feel free to put your comments down below or into the chat pod, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you today. We're going to start off with a few of our most frequently asked questions from the last week that we had in our user guide. So our user guide, if you haven't found it, is fully searchable. You can find that by going into Luminar AI, up to the help menu and choosing user guide. And we get to see all of those searches that you guys put in there. So sometimes we get ones like this here, which I have no idea what that means. And then other ones, I can tell that there's topics that would be really good to review. So I want to take a moment here and we'll go over a few of those. I want to say hello to Russell. Hello, Joseph. Glad you guys are able to join me today. Let's start with the crop tool. So this is one that if you are looking around in Luminar AI, if you're new, it might be a little bit hard to find. So that's where we're going to go to the Edit tab. And I'm going to scroll up to the top of our tools here under Essentials and into Composition AI. Now you'll notice that I've already cropped this image. I brought it into a 4:5 aspect ratio and cropped off a lot of negative space. But this is where you go to crop an image. You can also shift the aspect ratio. So if you want to go from a vertical to a horizontal or vice versa. You can use some perspective correction tools. So if you are photographing the horizon's a little bit crooked or the buildings are leaning a little bit, you can fix those automatically right here. You can always rotate and flip the image, so we could flip this around and get it the opposite. Sometimes that feels and looks better. And there's some manual controls here if you need to more fully adjust those perspectives. So that's where you're going to find our crop tool. Let me go ahead and click out of that. And let's take a look at what was next on the list. Next, we had batch processing, which is a technique for allowing you to edit a bunch of photos really quickly with a cohesive look and feel. There's a few different ways to get this done in Luminar. The first one is going to be to use or create a custom template and then apply that template across a series of photos. Now, if you want to do that quickly, what you can do is I'm going to go over to my catalog. And I'm going to pull up this photo shoot here of a mother and daughter. We've got a handful of images. What we can do is grab that first image, go to our templates, and I'm going to choose, let's say here, family portrait, apply that template, and now I want to apply this template across an entire series. I can go back to my catalog. I can then right-click on this image and I can go to adjustments and copy that. And then you can copy and paste over a variety of images. Or what's even faster if you have a bunch to go through is you select your first image, hold down your shift key, select the last image. So our sample image here has the blue border, everything else has a white border. And we can then right click on that first image, go to adjustments, and synchronize those adjustments across the entire series. And that's going to take that adjustment, that template that we applied to the first photo, and bring it across all of them. So that's how I would go through and batch process images. Once you're done syncing up those adjustments, you would then export the group of those, deliver them to your client, and you're done and ready to get on to your next task. All right, let's take a look at some other topics we have here. AI tool. Now, we all know that Luminar AI is one big AI tool. When you first bring your images into Luminar AI, the software analyzes them here under the templates pane. It takes a look at what's in your image and makes some recommendations based on the subject matter. So that's the first AI point of analysis. Once we go over to our Edit tab, we have a lot of AI tools. You can see they're marked with the little AI symbol here. And there's quite a few throughout here. And each one works a little bit differently. Some of them are geared towards portraits. Some of them are geared towards landscapes. But each one of the tools that has that little AI symbol next to it is an AI-based tool. Lots of great stuff there. Let's take a look here at one more. If you guys have any questions as we're going through, make sure you pop those into the chat or into the comments below, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. All right, so we have next on the list is our Sky tool. I've got to say this is one of my favorites and the most fun we have here in Luminar AI. Let me go back here to my catalog, and I'm going to scroll down here to my coffee break images, and let's take a look at this long exposure that I did in San Simeon, California. Now the sky in this image is pretty bland. One of the things we can do in this photo to jazz it up is to pop in a new sky. Now you might look at this image and go, wow, this would be a tough one because we have all of these spaces between all of the pilings. This is where that AI comes in really handy, and you're able to pop in a new sky in a situation like this that's challenging. So let's go over to Edit. We're going to scroll down to our creative tools, go into Sky AI. And from here, we choose a sky under Sky Selection. I'm under My Favorite Skies. This is a folder that I created of skies that I made, skies that I photographed. I like to use my own skies. It makes the image 100% mine as opposed to using someone else's skies. You can certainly do that. There's tons available out there, but I like to use my own, so my image is completely my own. I'm going to go ahead and load that up. We can pop a new sky in there, and you'll see that it completely transforms the image. That sky, those clouds even go between those pilings, and there are adjustments in here that you can use to refine this. Like we can go down to our scene relighting, adjust that relight strength, go to our sky adjustments, maybe pull up that atmospheric haze. There we go. And let's see here, we can also adjust that sky orientation. So I can go up to my sky orientation, choose that horizon position. That's going to bring up a gradient here, which you can see is right here at the horizon. And I can spread that out, pull that down a little bit, and adjust that. And you get a nice blend at the horizon. You can then further adjust where that sky is placed. I can bring that up a little higher. And right about there looks pretty good. So you can completely change the look and feel of an image by popping in a new sky. And it is ridiculously easy. I love this tool. It is so much fun. Charles has a great question. How do I merge 3 photos? So you can't do that in Luminar AI, but you can do that in our other application, Aurora HDR. So let me quickly pull up my browser here, and I'll show you where to find that. I'm going to go to the skylum.com website. If I can type here, give me a second. And if we go over here to Explore, here we have Aurora HDR. And this software that we have will allow you to merge multiple exposures into a single HDR image. It works brilliantly. I love it. It's a big part of my workflow. So I encourage you to go check that out. You can download a free trial. So if you can't find that link, go ahead and email us at support@skylum.com. We'll send you that free trial and you can test it out and see if it's a good fit for you. Great question, Charles. All right, let's take a look here at the topics. One more here, the clone tool. So earlier this week, we went pretty in-depth in another episode into the clone tool, but let's take a look at that really quick. I'm going to go ahead and exit out of my sky tool here, go back to my catalog and pull up the image that we worked on with the clone tool. And there were some distractions in this image that we were able to get rid of very quickly and easily by using that clone. So I'm going to scroll down to our clone tool. And let's say we want to get rid of this little piece of snow out here. I can set my source just a little further up the hill, use the bracket keys to make my brush smaller, and then brush that in. And now that little spot of snow is gone. So the clone tool is extremely powerful. If you'd like to learn more about it, I encourage you to go back and watch the episode we did earlier this week where we talked quite a bit about what the clone tool can do. All right, everyone. Well, I think that's all we have time for today. If you have any other questions that I can answer, please pop those into the comments below. I'll check those over the next few days and make sure your questions get answered. With that, I want to wish you a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.